Pay attention to this security camera footage. March 15, 2023. An office inside a private residence. The camera is positioned in the upper corner of the room, angled down toward a large wooden desk. The timestamp reads 8:47 p.m. A woman enters the frame. Blonde hair, mid-30s, professional attire. She approaches the desk where a man sits in a leather chair. He's older, 70s, well-dressed. She kneels down, then moves beneath the desk. The camera shows her lower legs and high heels extending out from under the desk. The man's face is visible above. His expression changes. Tense, not distressed, just aware. The footage runs for 6 seconds, then it cuts. That's the last time anyone sees Harper Bennett alive. 3 days later, she's found dead in her apartment. And the investigation that follows will hinge on this 6-second clip, on who was watching it, on what happened after, and on a wife who refused to lose everything she'd built over 35 years. Welcome back to The Last Moment. March 18, 2023. 9:14 a.m. Olympia Fields, Illinois. Police respond to a welfare check at an apartment complex on the east side of town. A coworker called it in. Harper Bennett hadn't shown up to work for 2 days. Wasn't answering her phone. The building manager lets officers inside. They find her in the living room on the floor. Gunshot wound to the chest. No signs of forced entry. No signs of struggle. The scene is clean. Too clean. Whoever did this knew what they were doing or got very lucky. The coroner estimates time of death between 10 p.m. on March 15th and 2 a.m. on March 16th, approximately 2 to 6 hours after that security footage was recorded. Detectives begin their investigation immediately. Now, to understand who killed Harper Bennett and why, you need to know who these 3 people were. Starting with Harper. Harper Bennett, 36 years old, originally from a small town in Indiana, moved to the Chicago area after college, got a degree in business administration. Spent a few years working entry-level corporate jobs. In 2011, she was hired as a personal assistant to Booker T. Vance, a wealthy businessman based in Olympia Fields. Harper was 24 at the time. Booker was 58. Harper's job was to manage Booker's schedule, handle correspondence, organize meetings, keep his professional and personal life running smoothly. She was good at it. Efficient, detail-oriented, reliable. Over the years, Harper became indispensable to Booker. She knew his preferences, his routines, his business dealings. She anticipated his needs before he voiced them. By 2023, Harper had worked for Booker for 12 years. 12 years of daily contact, 10 to 12-hour days together, business trips, late nights at the office, dinners with clients. Harper wasn't just an employee. She was part of Booker's inner circle, the person he relied on most. And over those 12 years, something shifted. The professional relationship deepened, became something more personal, more intimate. Whether it was romantic from the start or evolved slowly, no one can say for certain. But by early 2023, Harper and Booker had crossed a line. Booker T. Vance, 70 years old in 2023, self-made millionaire. Booker grew up on the south side of Chicago, worked his way through college, built a career in commercial real estate development. By his 40s, he was a major player in the Illinois property market. By his 60s, he'd amassed a fortune estimated at $14 million. Booker was known as a shrewd businessman. Disciplined, strategic, but also fair. People respected him. He had a reputation for being honest in an industry where that's rare. Booker married young, met his wife Lorraine in 1988. They married that same year. By 2023, they'd been together for 35 years, but the marriage had changed. In the early years, it was strong. They built a life together, raised no children by choice, focused on careers and social standing. But by the 2010s, the relationship had cooled. Booker and Lorraine lived in the same house, but led separate lives. Different bedrooms, different schedules, different social circles. It wasn't hostile, just empty. They stayed together out of convenience, out of habit, out of a shared investment in the lifestyle they'd built. Lorraine enjoyed the status that came with being Mrs. Vance. The country club, the charity galas, the recognition. Booker tolerated it, but he wasn't happy. And over time, The person who made him feel alive wasn't his wife. It was Harper. The third person is Lorraine Vance, 68 years old, married to Booker for 35 years. Lorraine came from a middle-class background. Met Booker when he was still building his business. She supported him in those early years, managed the household, hosted dinners for potential clients, played the role of the perfect wife. But as Booker's wealth grew, so did Lorraine's attachment to the lifestyle it afforded. By the 2020s, Lorraine's identity was tied to being Booker's wife, to the social status, the financial security, the respect that came with the Vance name. She wasn't involved in Booker's business. Didn't work. Her world was the house, the clubs, the circle of wealthy women she surrounded herself with. And she was protective of that world. Fiercely protective. Lorraine knew the marriage was cold. She knew Booker was distant, but she convinced herself it didn't matter. As long as they maintained appearances, as long as the money kept flowing, as long as she remained Mrs. Vance, that was enough. Until it wasn't. By early 2023, Lorraine started noticing changes in Booker's behavior. He was distracted, spending even more time at the office, mentioning Harper constantly. Harper did this. Harper suggested that. Harper organized the trip. It was always Harper. Lorraine tried to ignore it, but the suspicion grew. In February 2023, Lorraine decided to act. She hired a tech consultant to install a hidden security camera in Booker's home office. The camera was small, discreet, positioned in the upper corner with a view of the desk. It fed live footage to an app on Lorraine's phone. She could watch in real time or review recordings later. Booker had no idea. Lorraine told herself it was just to confirm her suspicions, to see if Booker was being unfaithful, to know the truth. But deep down she knew. She knew what she'd find. She just needed proof. March 15, 2023. Evening. Lorraine is at home. Booker is in his office working late, or so he says. Lorraine opens the app on her phone, activates the live feed from the camera. She sees Booker at his desk, alone. Then Harper enters the frame. Lorraine's stomach tightens. Harper approaches the desk carrying documents. She sets them down. Then she kneels. Lorraine watches. Harper crawls beneath the desk, out of view except for her legs, her high heels. Booker's face is visible. His expression changes. Lorraine doesn't need to see what's happening under the desk. She knows. She watches for 6 seconds. Then she closes the app. She sits in silence, shaking. 35 years of marriage. 12 years Harper had been in their lives. And this is what it had come to. Lorraine doesn't cry. She doesn't scream. She just sits there calculating. Because Lorraine isn't just angry, she's terrified. Terrified of what this means. If Booker leaves her for Harper, the life she's built collapses. The prenuptial agreement they signed in 1988 is ironclad. If Booker divorces her, Lorraine gets $2 million. That's it. $2 million out of 14. She loses the house, the status, the identity, everything. And Harper gets Booker, gets the wealth, gets the life Lorraine spent 35 years building. Lorraine can't let that happen. She won't. Within an hour of watching that footage, Lorraine makes a decision. Harper has to go. Permanently. Lorraine doesn't act impulsively. She's methodical. She knows she can't confront Booker. Can't let him know she's seen the footage. If she does, he'll leave immediately. File for divorce. She has to deal with Harper first. Quietly, carefully. She goes to her bedroom, opens the safe. Inside is a handgun, a 9mm Booker bought years ago for home protection. Lorraine has never fired it, but she knows how it works. She takes the gun, checks that it's loaded, puts it in her purse. Then she gets in her car and drives to Harper's apartment. Harper lives in a modest 2-bedroom apartment about 20 minutes from the Vance residence. Lorraine has the address. She's been there once before, years ago, to drop off documents Booker forgot. Lorraine parks down the street, walks to the building. It's just after 10 p.m. The building has a security entrance, but it's not monitored closely. Lorraine waits. A resident exits. Lorraine catches the door before it closes. Walks inside. No one sees her. She takes the stairs to the 3rd floor, finds Harper's unit, knocks. Harper opens the door. She's surprised to see Lorraine, confused. Lorraine says she needs to talk about Booker, about work. Harper hesitates, then lets her in. The moment the door closes, Lorraine pulls out the gun. Harper barely has time to react. Lorraine fires once. Center mass. Harper collapses. Lorraine stands over her, watches her die. Then she leaves, wipes down the door handle, takes the stairs back down, exits the building the same way she came in. No one sees her. She drives home, puts the gun back in the safe, showers, changes clothes. By midnight, she's in bed. Booker comes home around 1 a.m. He doesn't suspect a thing. March 16th morning. Harper doesn't show up to work. Booker tries calling her. No answer. He assumes she's sick. Sends a text. No reply. By the next day, March 17th, Booker is concerned. He asks Harper's coworker to check on her. The coworker goes to Harper's apartment. No answer at the door. On March 18th, the coworker calls the police. They perform a welfare check and they find Harper's body. The investigation begins immediately. Detectives canvass the building, interview neighbors, review security footage from the building's exterior cameras, but the cameras only cover the parking lot and main entrance. The side door Harper's killer likely used isn't monitored. No footage of anyone entering or leaving. No witnesses. The apartment shows no signs of forced entry. Harper knew her killer. Let them in willingly. That narrows the suspect pool. Detectives look at Harper's phone records, her recent calls and texts. Most are work-related. Messages with Booker, messages with colleagues. Nothing suspicious. They look at her financial records. No large withdrawals, no unusual transactions, no obvious motive from that angle. Then they interview Booker. Booker is devastated. He tells detectives Harper was his assistant for 12 years, a valued employee, a trusted friend. He last saw her on the evening of March 15th. She left his office around 9 p.m. He went home shortly after. Detectives ask about his relationship with Harper. Booker admits they were close, but he's vague about the details. He doesn't mention the footage, doesn't mention what happened under the desk. He's protecting his reputation and protecting Lorraine because if the affair comes out, it gives Lorraine motive. Detectives ask Booker where he was the night Harper was killed. He says he was home with his wife. Lorraine confirms this. She tells detectives Booker came home around 1 a.m. They went to bed. She didn't leave the house. Detectives have no reason to doubt her. At this point, Lorraine isn't even on their radar as a suspect. Days pass. The case stalls. No physical evidence, no witnesses, no clear suspect. Then, a week after Harper's death, detectives get a break. They subpoena Harper's laptop. It's password protected, but forensic techs crack it. Inside, they find cloud storage linked to a security camera. The camera was installed in Booker's home office. The footage is stored automatically. Detectives review the files and they find the recording from March 15th. The 6-second clip. Harper kneeling, going under the desk. Booker's reaction. It's clear what's happening. This changes everything. Detectives now know Harper and Booker were having an affair, and they know someone else might have had access to this footage. They dig deeper into the camera setup. The account is registered to Lorraine Vance. She installed the camera. She had access to the live feed and all recorded footage. She saw what happened that night. Before we go any further, if you're watching this, you need to subscribe to The Last Moment right now. Hit that button and turn on notifications because this case is about to take a turn you won't see coming. Drop a comment and tell me, if you were Lorraine, what would you have done? Like this video and share it with someone who loves true crime. Alright, back to the interrogation. Detectives bring Lorraine in for questioning. The interview takes place on March 27th. Lorraine arrives with her attorney. She's calm, composed. Detectives ask her about the camera. Lorraine admits she installed it. Says she suspected Booker was working too much. Wanted to check if he was okay. Detectives ask if she watched the footage from March 15th. Lorraine hesitates, then says yes, she saw it. She saw Harper and Booker. Detectives ask how that made her feel. Lorraine's composure cracks slightly. She says she was upset, hurt, but she didn't do anything about it. She confronted Booker the next day. They argued, but that's all. Detectives ask where she was the night of March 15th between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. Lorraine says she was home alone. Booker was at the office. She went to bed early. Detectives press her. Ask if anyone can confirm that. Lorraine says no. She was alone. Her story is starting to fall apart. Detectives ask about the gun, the 9mm registered to Booker. Lorraine says it's in their safe. She hasn't touched it. Detectives ask if they can test it. Lorraine's attorney advises her not to consent. But Lorraine, perhaps sensing the walls closing in, agrees. Forensic ballistics test the gun. It's a match. The bullet that killed Harper was fired from that gun. Lorraine is arrested on March 29th, charged with first-degree murder. The case goes to trial in September 2023. The prosecution lays out the timeline. Lorraine installed the camera, watched the footage, saw Harper and Booker together, realized her marriage and financial security were at risk, took the gun, went to Harper's apartment, killed her. The evidence is circumstantial but strong. The camera footage proves motive. The ballistics match proves means. The lack of alibi proves opportunity. Lorraine's defense team argues she's being framed, that someone else could have accessed the gun, that the footage doesn't prove she killed Harper. But the jury doesn't buy it. The prosecution presents Lorraine's phone records. Her cell tower data places her near Harper's apartment the night of the murder. She lied about being home. The defense can't explain that away. Booker testifies. He admits the affair, says he and Harper had developed feelings over the years, that the marriage with Lorraine had been dead for over a decade. He never suspected Lorraine would hurt Harper. He says he feels responsible, that if he'd been honest sooner, Harper might still be alive. His testimony is damning for Lorraine. It establishes clear motive. The jury deliberates for 2 days. They return with a verdict. Guilty of first-degree murder. Lorraine shows no emotion. She's sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Under Illinois law, she's also barred from inheriting anything from Booker under the Slayer statute. Even if they were still married, her conviction disqualifies her. She gets nothing. The $2 million prenuptial payout, gone. The house, the status, the life, all of it gone. Lorraine Vance will spend the rest of her life in prison and she'll die with nothing. After the trial, Booker issues a statement. He says Harper was a kind, dedicated, intelligent woman who deserved better. He takes responsibility for his role in the situation, for the secrecy, for not leaving his marriage honestly before pursuing a relationship with Harper. He establishes a scholarship fund in Harper's name, $2 million for young women pursuing careers in business administration. It's named the Harper Bennett Memorial Scholarship. Booker never remarries. He sells the house in Olympia Fields. Too many memories, too much guilt. He moves to a smaller property, lives quietly, continues his business, but scales back significantly. He visits Harper's grave regularly, brings flowers, sits in silence. He tells a reporter years later that he thinks about Harper every day. That he wasted years in a loveless marriage out of fear and convenience. That by the time he found something real, it was too late. That Lorraine didn't just kill Harper. She killed any chance he had at happiness. And he has to live with that. Lorraine, for her part, maintains her innocence from prison. She grants one interview in 2025. She claims the evidence was circumstantial, that the police rushed to judgment, that Booker manipulated the narrative to avoid scrutiny. She insists someone else killed Harper, that she's a victim in all of this. But no one believes her. The evidence is too strong, the motive too clear. Lorraine spent 35 years building a life as Mrs. Vance. And when that life was threatened, she chose murder over divorce. She chose violence over acceptance. And now she has nothing. Not the man, not the money, not her freedom. Just a cell. And the knowledge that she destroyed everything she tried to protect. This case raises uncomfortable questions about marriage, about what happens when relationships become transactional, when love fades, but financial incentives remain. Lorraine didn't kill Harper because she loved Booker. She killed Harper because she loved what Booker represented. The wealth, the status, the security. When that was threatened, she acted not out of passion, not out of heartbreak. out of greed, out of fear of losing her position. And in doing so, she lost everything anyway. Harper Bennett was 36 years old. She worked hard, built a career, developed a genuine connection with someone over 12 years. Whether the relationship was right or wrong is debatable, but she didn't deserve to die for it. She was executed because a woman couldn't accept that her marriage was over. That 12 years of daily partnership and emotional intimacy had replaced 35 years of cold coexistence. Lorraine saw the footage, saw the truth, and instead of confronting it, she eliminated it. The 6-second clip from that security camera became the centerpiece of a murder trial. It showed an intimate moment between two people, a moment Lorraine wasn't supposed to see. But she did. And what she did next cost Harper her life and Lorraine her freedom. If this case made you think twice about the people around you, do me a favor. Subscribe to The Last Moment. Like this video. Share it with someone who needs to hear this story. And comment below, do you think Booker shares any blame in Harper's death? I want to hear what you think. Booker Vance lost the woman he cared about. Lorraine Vance lost everything she thought mattered. And Harper Bennett lost her future. All because a marriage that should have ended years ago was held together by money and pride. This case is a reminder that relationships built on anything other than mutual respect and genuine connection are doomed. That staying together for appearances or financial security is a trap. And that when those facades crack, the consequences can be deadly. Lorraine could have walked away, could have taken her $2 million and started over. Instead, she chose murder, and now she'll spend the rest of her life paying for that choice.